G'day golfers, Glenn Haynes at Aussie Golf Pros, and today we're going to talk about one of the most common swing characteristics that we see in golfers today, early extension. We're going to talk about what it is, what it's doing to your golf game, and how to fix it. Stick around. Early extension, or as it's commonly known, humping the goat. So what is it? Well, early extension is when we get to the top of the backswing and then the hips move towards the golf ball, and then we get this posture change through impact. We get very hunched. You can see that the spine angle changes, and we have to make a lot of compensations in the golf swing to cope with that movement. And as the name suggests, it's all happening too early. So early extension is moving the hips towards the ball too early. What we want to happen is turn through the shot and then extend into the finish position. So we want to extend the back, but only when we're finished and when we want to watch the ball. Early extension is when we're extending that back and moving those hips too early. It's actually happening in the downswing instead of after impact. And that can cause a lot of issues in your golf swing. It can really affect your ball striking, your power output. It can affect your consistency, lots of other different things. So let's go through them. Let's start with ball striking. So we get to the golf ball there, swing back, and then early extend. You can see that I've lost space now. So the hips are moving towards the golf ball. That can easily push the arms and the club away. So we get a high handle position. And a lot of people can heel or shank the shot. They hit it into this section of the golf club because they've lost all that space. Now, typically, quick fix is just to move further away. But the fact is that ball striking is really compromised, our consistency of ball striking, because now the club isn't flat on the ground as we're trying to hit the golf ball. The toe's digging in. And that's a real issue if you're trying to hit the ball out the middle, especially if you're in the rough, ball sitting down or on a tight lie. Typically, golfers who early extend like that and get this high handle, high shaft position and toe down can only really find the sweet spot when the ball's teed up or on a perched lie. So these players might hit their driver okay or their tee shots okay. But as soon as they're trying to hit an iron, it might even be just a simple 9-iron wedge shot from the middle of the fairway, and they really struggle with it because the club isn't flat on the ground. They've got this early extension, high shaft position, and the toes down. So that's really affecting the quality of your ball striking, spin rates, consistency, distance control. The list goes on and on. Let's go now into consistency, and that's where it's really going to cost you a lot of shots out in the golf course. So early extending, you're coming forward here. You get this hunched position, so we're not really rotating very much. We can't turn the hips as much because your hips have moved forward towards the ball. It is going to slow down rotation, and we get this high shaft position. And now what happens is you have to actually manipulate the club face through impact with your hands. And that's where we get this high degree of flipping action and not a very stable club face position. So your path is compromised, your plane is compromised because we're getting steep here, and we're getting steep here, very high position. Posture's lost, so that there's no consistency of rotation around your spine, and there's no consistency of release pattern through impact because we're making all these compromises through impact. Very difficult to do. And so a player who early extends hits thousands of golf shots trying to square up the club face, and basically what's going to happen is you're going to have good days and bad days. Now I know we all do that, of course we do, but we're really going to struggle with consistency if we're trying to control that club face with our hands rather than actually just turning through the shot and having a nice stable club face where the club face is rotating with the body. Here are just two of my clients experiencing early extension in the downswing and causing issues at impact for both of them. So as we can see here in the downswing, they're moving the hips towards the ball, losing space, both getting this high shaft position, so toe down at impact. And as you can see on the left here, that player has now heeling a lot of shots because of that, partially responsible at least anyway. And both players just struggling to control the club face through impact. So there I made sure that that pocket is coming away. I'm creating space through impact, and therefore the club face is more stable through impact. It's rotating, but it's not flipping. And that's what we want. We want that stable club face so we can get some consistency with our direction. And divot nice and flat as well. That's really key. You get up here, get that toe down, very difficult for your ball striking. Right, so we've talked about ball striking being affected and consistency, directional consistency being affected as well. What about power output? So as I said, if your hips are moving towards the ball, that means you can't rotate as much. You're not rotating early like this, so you're not producing ground force energy anywhere near as effectively. When we get to the top of the backswing and we see an elite player get to here and then turn and create space, they're producing ground force energy, rotational power as well. So we're getting a lot of speed through squatting and turning through the shot, and that's not going to happen if you're doing this. What we're doing then is relying on upper body strength and upper body speed to create power. So we're losing clubhead speed, potential clubhead speed. There are some players out there that are strong enough in the upper body that still hit the ball a long way. I've got a couple of clients who do that, who early extend a little bit, but they manage to be strong enough in the upper body and they can muscle the ball and they can still generate some clubhead speed. But if you're not particularly strong in the upper body, you better be generating some power from the ground and through rotation. That's activating those glute muscles there, turning through, creating space, and being able to swing more freely through impact, generating easy clubhead speed, effortless clubhead speed, rather than actually trying to force it. Now, if you're strong enough in the upper body, you don't have to worry about power output. But if you're not, you better be getting rid of your early extension so that you can turn and produce that ground force energy, that power from the ground up. One of the most common swing characteristics that we see in golfers today, early extension, and it's really holding you back. If you're early extending, then you're making golf a lot harder than it needs to be. Next step is, how do we fix it? Just what I needed, a chair. What we're going to do here is get some feedback on where our backside is. So if you just set up to the golf ball and you're just lightly touching the back of the chair there, if we get into the backswing, and remember your hips are elliptical in shape. So just by turning, we should be increasing pressure against the chair with that right pocket, that right backside there, and then in the downswing, actually hitting it with the left cheek and actually moving the chair a little bit. Without squatting down or anything fancy like that and trying to jump through the golf shot, just by turning your elliptically shaped hips, then we are actually pushing against that rather than coming away like this, which is what a lot of us do. So start with it nice and slowly. We'll start with the out with the ball. Backswing, feeling a little bit of excess pressure in the right buttock against the chair and then through. So you're really trying to lift a couple of chair legs here with your left buttock as you go through. And the timing of that is as early as you can. You get to the top of the backswing and now your transition is when you want to try to lift that chair with your left buttock. So you get to here and bump. Get to here, bump. Get to here, bump. Nice and slowly. Lots of dry runs. Just do it without the golf ball, plenty of times. Get the hang of it. So what's happening here now is we've got rotation of the hips, we've got a good spine angle, we've got consistency of club face, we've got the club face, club head flat on the ground. A couple more. Now, when you come through here, you're creating that space. As soon as you got through impact, let yourself extend. You can come away from the chair then. We only need to get into contact with it before impact, up to impact, and that's it. Let yourself extend, come around, watch the golf ball fly. Let's have a go with the ball. Right, where are we here? Let's move this way a little bit. Right, nice and slowly to start with, nice and smoothly. Bit of pressure, lot of pressure, trying to lift that chair leg and get right through it. Now I encourage you to do that at that speed, sort of half speed or even slower if you want to, plenty of times. This isn't an easy thing to change because if you've been playing for quite some time and early extending a lot, then that becomes a habit. We're trying to create new habits. Right, I'm not going to stay here all day though. Let's have a go at full speed. Wasn't quite happy with that. I touched the chair, but I didn't really lift it. So let's try again. Let's really see if I can bump that chair a little bit more aggressively. Bit windy today. That was a bit better. Just felt those chair legs lift a little bit. And like any drill like this, any change, you're really trying to overdo it. So lots of slow, dry runs, lifting that chair, creating that space, and then try to incorporate into your longer shots and your fuller swings. So for these players, we use the chair drill just to promote some space through impact. We start off with no golf ball, and we can see the difference here. We're trying to get this player to bump that chair, really create space, and much better posture through impact. And on the right hand side, we've got the water bottle there as well, just to add that external focus of attention to get the player to get the club into a better position rather than heeling the shot, and again promote better space through impact and better plane lines as well. It would be remiss of me not to include the fact that your body might not want to do this. If we've got some tightness in your hamstrings or weakness in your glutes, tightness in your back, upper back, then this is going to make it more difficult to achieve this rotation in this space. Basically, your body wants to just stand up. Weak postural muscles, tight in the calves and the ankles, these things can make it harder for you to stay in posture. So that's why I really encourage you to do it slowly, but I also encourage you to go and see a TPI registered professional and check out where you might be a little bit limited. It could be in your hips, your hamstrings, your back. Go and find out where you might be a little bit limited, a little bit tight, and you can actually improve those aspects with not too much effort, not too much time on it. You can create a little bit more mobility and identify where you might be just holding yourself back and where it might be making it difficult for you to stay in posture. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. Clearly, early extension has a profound impact on your ball striking and your distance control, your power output, your golf swing, and it cannot be ignored. It really does affect almost every part of the ability to strike the ball and hit it to where you want it to go. So get stuck into this drill. Now, if you find it difficult to do, then it could be that you're a little bit limited. So get stuck, go and see a TPI qualified professional and find any limitations that you might have. Even if we get a 10% improvement out of your posture control through impact, then we're going to improve your ball striking. If you're new to this channel, then please click that subscribe button, hit the little bell in the corner. Don't miss out on any videos. We bring out new content every week, and we look forward to seeing you again next week. Are you the best golfer you can be?